עירובין, פרק י' משנה ב'. עירובין, פרק י' משנה ב'. משנתנו היא ההמשך המשנה הקודמת. This Mishnah is the continuation of the previous Mishnah. In the previous Mishnah, we said that if you find tefillin, right, a bunch of tefillin, you can wear them and walk with them into the house. It says, what happens if you find like 20 tefillin? So it says, the advice that we got, you should walk with them less than 4 tfachim. Walk with them, sir. Or stay there. But there was somebody did say that you're allowed to walk with them less than 4 tfachim until you come to a place where you can guard them. Okay. We're going to continue on that part. משנתנו ההמשך המשנה המקודמת. This is the continuation of the previous Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon אומר, Rabbi Shimon says, נותנן לחברו. You give it to your friend. What is he talking about? בסוף המשנה הקודמת למדנו, in the end of the previous Mishnah we learned, שהמוצא בשבת תפילין בשדה, that somebody found on Shabbat תפילין in the field, ויראו להכניסם מפני הסכנה, and is afraid to bring them because it's a dangerous time. כגון בשעת גזירת השמד, you're not allowed to do mitzvahs, and the goyim are around. מחסן והולך לו, so he covers them and he goes. אבל אם הוא ירא מפני סכנת ליסטים, but if he's afraid not from the authorities, he's afraid because he's in a bad neighborhood, he's going to get robbed, for example, כגון שמצא צוותים או כריכות, והוא צריך להחשיך עליהם, he found a lot of tefillin together, and he needs to wait until Shabbos is over. Yeah, until להחשיך עליהם. He needs to wait until Shabbos is over. ויש שם סכנה של ליסטים נפולה, but it's in a bad neighborhood now. So what is going to, he's going to cover it, it doesn't matter, because they're going to see that there's something covered, they're going to steal the tefillin, take the tefillin. And if he's going to stay there until it go, he's going to get robbed, so he's afraid. מוליכם פחות מ-400. So it says you can take them, carry them, but you're allowed to carry them less than 4 amot. Walk a little bit, stand, walk a little bit, stand. ובא רבי שמעון וחולה כאן. So Rabbi Shimon is going to give a different opinion over here. בעניין סכנת ליסטים. The only part where Rabbi Shimon disagrees with the previous Mishnah is at the time that you found a lot of tefillin in a bad neighborhood. All the rest he agrees. He says at the time you found a lot of tefillin in a bad neighborhood, that's why I disagree what you should do. You told me I should walk less and less than 4 tfachim until I get out of there. I say something else.
To get robbed is not called pikuach nefesh.
No.
To get robbed.
No. But it can be, but it's over here. Let's say let's over here. He's not afraid that he's going to kill him. He's afraid they're going to take his money. שאינם מוליכן פחות מ-400. He says you shouldn't walk with them less than 4 amot. So he says why? Because it says, think about it. A person who starts to walk and stand, yeah, he's automatically would want to walk very close to the 4 amot, because otherwise it's going to take him a very long time. So he doesn't want to walk 1 amma and stand 1 amma, because it's going to take him a year to get home. So he's going to walk 3.5 amos, almost 4 amos every time. And after a while, automatically he will come to walk without standing more than 4 amot. So that says, I'm afraid that this is what's going to happen. It says you're giving it an opportunity to happen. So it says, don't do it. גזרה שמא יעבירן 4 אמות שלמות, because I'm afraid you're going to carry them for 4 amot without standing, and that's not allowed. So what should he do? So it says, I have a better way to do it. It says, how do you do it? נותן הוא את התפילין לחברו שאצלו בתוך 4 אמותיו. It says, you stand a line of people, or you can get it with just 2 people, just change spaces all the time, but stand next to each other and pass it one to another until you get home. Yeah, or you can get a whole line and you pass it from one to another until.
But I'll be honest with you, Rabbi Shimon, there is one guy who said there is so many people.
So he said, if there's one guy, you don't have a choice. But if there's 2 guys, this way is better than the other way.
But he doesn't have a solution for one guy.
No. He says if there's one guy, you're stuck. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. וחברו לחברו. It says, if you have a better way, you have two guys, preferably do it this way. And his friend... That's right. חוט? We're going to discuss this later on. We're going to see. וחברו לחברו, וכן, maybe in 3 Mishnahs from now, it's going to talk about your case. וכן ניתנות התפילין מזה לבזה. And this is how you give the tefillin from one person to another. עד שמגיע לחצר החיצונה, until you get to the outmost courtyard of the city, הראשונה שבעיר, the first one in the city, שהוא מקום המשתמר. But this is a place that is guarded. So you're allowed to do it. Yeah. ברם, תנא קמא סובר, the first Tana says, שדרך זו של רבי שמעון, יש בה פרסום רב מפאת ריבוי האנשים המשתתפים בשרשרת. It says, look, you're causing everybody to see what's going on. ועלול הדבר להביא לידי זלזול השבת. So now, you know what, your way is, I admit that halachically it's better. But you know what way it's not better? People are seeing that the Jews are moving things on Shabbat. So then they say, hey, it's not so bad to move things on Shabbat. I say, yeah, I can see it, feeling the move. So tomorrow it's going to be a mezuzah. The next day it's going to be a book. The next day it's going to be a chumash. The next day it's going to be one of the regular books, that explains the chumash. And then you can go to the newspaper. It can go one by one, and people are going to desecrate Shabbat. בעיני עמי הארץ, in the eyes of those who don't understand. They don't understand that you only do it for tefillin and you don't do it for other stuff. ואילכך עדיפו שהמוציאן מוליכם בעצמו פחות מ-400. So according to Tanna Kama, even if you have 20 people are walking in the street and you see only one should take it, you shouldn't make a line of 20 people, because then everybody sees that the people who don't understand, they see that you're taking stuff on Shabbat. It's a problem. וכן בנו. And the same thing with the son. Same halacha, that doesn't only apply to tefillin, also with the person. שנולד בשבת בשדה, the woman was going to the hospital, let's say, or going to her midwife, or coming from the midwife, and she gave birth in the field, middle of Shabbat. What happens now? So it says, there's 2 ways now. What do you do with the kid? Do you carry him one person, the kid, less than 4 amot, or do you pass it from hand to hand? Again, the two system. What's preferable? Let's see. So Rabbi Shimon says, נותנו לחברו וחברו לחברו אפילו 100. You give him from one guy to another guy, even 100. אפילו כשיש צורך להעבירו דרך ידיהם של 100 אנשים. It says, I don't care even if it goes by the hands of 100 men. Because there's an advantage of the Tanna Kama. What's the advantage of the Tanna Kama? The advantage of the Tanna Kama, no matter what you're going to say, it's only one guy who's doing something wrong. Over here, you can have 1 million people doing something wrong. So it says, why make 1 million people do something wrong when it's preferable to only one man do something wrong? Yeah. ידיהם של 100 אנשים, the hands of 100 men, וקשה לתינוק הטלטול מיד ליד. And it says, what are you're going to carry the baby? Boom, 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 boom. It's a baby. What are he was just born. You're going to carry, yeah. אף על פי כן, it says, nevertheless, סובר רבי שמעון שדרך זו עדיפה מלהוליכו פחות מ-400. Even though he knows it's hard for the baby, he still says it's a better way to do it this way. Yeah, because the other way, most probably you're going to come and carry more than 4 amot, which you're not allowed to. You're going to break Shabbat. מהטעם שבאנו לעיל. Obviously, we're not talking about a case over here. In today's day and age, we're going to consider that as a pikuach nefesh. But in that time, it wasn't pikuach nefesh because it's not different than the regular day. It's the same thing. מהטעם שבאנו לעיל. And obviously, also in that time, if it is pikuach nefesh, yeah, there's things you can do. שמוליך את התינוק פחות מ-4 אמות. That it can carry the baby less and less than 4 אמות. מהטעם שביאלו נעיל, just like we explained באב. הרמב"ם פוסק כשניהם. The Rambam comes like both of them. He explains it like both of them. How? ואיזו דרך שירצה יעשה. He says you can choose whichever way you want. In other words, I don't mind which one you do. There's an advantage of this, and there's an advantage of this, he says. איזו דרך שירצה לעשות, שכן כותב הוא, says, how do we see it in the Rambam? היה מתיירא להחשיך עליהן. It says if he was afraid because of the, remember this is the only case because of the listim. He was afraid to wait until Shabbos is over. מפני הליסטים, because of the robbers, נוטל את כולן כאחד, he's allowed to pick them all like one, ומוליכם פחות מ4 אמות, and he walks with it less and less than 4 אמות. או נותנן לחברו בתוך 4 אמות, or you make the chain of the people, and you give it to your friend inside the 4 אמות, וחברו לחברו עד שמגיע לחצר החיצונה. And his friend to his friend until he gets to the outer courtyard. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda אומר, new concept. Rabbi Yehuda says, this case is you find yourself in the middle of nowhere. You're traveling, you're in the middle of nowhere, right? And there's a person who's hungry. And you have summer. Not talking about it, we're not in town, we're out of town. And there's a person, you find himself is hungry, you don't have food in yourself, but you just passed a barrel with food. Yeah? So the question is, he's very sick, he's not going, he's an old man.
He can walk to the barrel.
Maybe he can, doesn't matter. But you want to carry.
You can bring him to the barrel, you have to bring the barrel to
You don't have to.
Not have to.
Yeah, I mean, the question, maybe you can bring him to the barrel. The question is, are you allowed to take the barrel to him? So we have 2 ways to do it now. I know, but we have 2 ways to do it now. We just get
one מוסר לחברו וחברו לחברו.
and or less than 4 amot. So this is what we're going to be discussing now. Rabbi Yehuda אומר.
The barrel sometimes is more כבד.
What?
It's very heavy.
There's a little bit. It's a small barrel. Yeah. Rabbi Yehuda, when he says barrel, it means basket. Container. Yeah, container. Yeah. Rabbi Yehuda נותן אדם חבית עם מים. So Rabbi Yehuda says a person is allowed to give a barrel with water לחברו, to his friend, שבתוך 4 אמותיו, that it's inside your 4th. And think about it even better. If we both go on a trip and we get stuck on Shabbos out of town, and you have a container of water, right? Are you allowed to pass it to me? As long as I'm well. The 4 amot. So you're allowed to give it to your friend that within 4 amot. We didn't make an eruv. Nothing. We didn't make nothing. Yeah? That's between you. That's right. שבתוך אמותיו, וחברו לחברו, and his friend is allowed to give it to his friend. And it can go 100 miles like this. That's what it looks like, right? וחברו, שאין כל אחד מטלטלה, אלא בתוך 4 אמותיו, and look what it says. And like this, it says, according to this logic, I can take this barrel and travel with it how long?
Wherever you want.
To the entire world. I can go around the world with it.
That's the same concept of the other feeling, no? What's the difference?
Oh, we're going to see. Yes, we're going to see. ואפשר להלוכה כך, אפילו חוץ לתחום. It says there's a תחום Shabbat. There's a tchum Shabbat that you're allowed to walk. Even if you made an Eruv, right? There's a tchum, 2,000 amah from the Eruv. According to this logic, it says you're allowed to take it all the way around the world. I don't care. More than the 2,000 amah of the tchum Shabbat that we discussed. You remember then? It says the most you can go, you can not even walk out of the 2 amah. Over here, all of a sudden, this thing is traveling.
Each one walk less than 4 hours.
Yeah. It can go all the way around, it says. אפילו חוץ לתחום, כגון, for example, אם יש בני אדם השובתים חוץ לתחום, and this comes a little bit strange, because you're not going to allow me to walk with it, right, out of the תחום, but over here you're going to carry it out of the תחום? Okay. כגון, אם יש בני אדם השובתים חוץ לתחום, if there are people who make their Shabbat out of the boundary, והם זקוקים למים and they need water, מותר להעביר עליהם בדרך זו חבית עם מים. You're allowed to take water to them in such a manner. שזה נותן לזה ונותן לזה, that this one gives us to this one, and this one gives to this one, עד שהיא מגיעה עליהם, until it reaches them. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, don't run so quickly. What are we talking about over here? It's not in every case you're allowed to do such a thing. שמדובר כאן בחבית ומים של הפקר. This barrel and this water need to be hefker, need to not belong to somebody. Because if they belong to somebody, you can't do that. Why not? וסובר רבי יהודה is going to hold, שחפצי הפקר אינם קונים שביתה. That the properties of hefkers do not buy shvita. We learned that you can say that my property over there, this is where I'm coming. Lishbot. And if it belongs to somebody, this barrel belongs to somebody, it means that it has a limit of how much it can travel now. If you say that this is your center point, this barrel belongs to me even if I'm in town, the barrel can only travel 2,000 amma on any direction. It cannot do more. So you're not allowed to carry it more. So we're talking about a barrel that belongs to no one. Otherwise you will not be able to, because it belongs to somebody. But Rabbi Yehuda thinks that if it's hefker, then there's no owners. And since there's no owners, the 2,000 amma doesn't hold on it, doesn't catch on it. Because when does the 2,000 amma catch? When there's an owner. בנביאים there's no owner. הילקח מותר להעביר את החבית אפילו לחוץ לתחום. Therefore you're allowed to take the barrel even out of the boundary. אבל בחבית שיש לה בעלים, but with a barrel that has owners, even he, Rabbi Yehuda, ההלכה היא, the law is, שהבהמה והכלים כרגלי הבעלים. That if you leave an animal or vessel somewhere, they always attach to you. In other words, they're always attached to you. כלומר, שאין לו ליחם ביום טוב או בשבת, אלא למקום שבעליהם יכולים ללך שמה. You're only allowed to carry them to the place that you're allowed to walk over there. You make it like their eruv, your eruv. So if you're in town and you're 1,000 amma from them,
it's like they become to be you.
That's right.
They're not stuck.
If you're in the east and this is 1,000 amma to the west, you can not allowed to go 2,000 more amma to the west. You're only allowed to go 1,000 more amma to the west because you will not be allowed to carry it more than that. And it's your property. So since it's your property, you're not allowed to move it out of your area that you're allowed to go. Or my area, okay? נמצא שאין מולכים את החבית חוץ לתחומו של בעל החבית. You're not allowed to take the barrel out of the owner's area that he's allowed to walk with the barrel. ברם, but he says, בחבית של הפקר, but over here we're talking about a barrel with ownerless barrel, so it says there's no owner, so there's no area. הואיל ולא קנתה שביתתה במקומה, since it did not buy, when Shabbos came in, it did not catch, because it's ownerless, מותר להליכה אפילו חוץ לתחום כמבואר לעיל. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you're allowed to walk with it in the entire world. אמרו לו לרבי יהודה. So the sages attacked Rabbi Yehuda. He says, nice thinking, but we're not going to like it. אמרו לו to Rabbi Yehuda, לא תהלך זו החבית. It says, this barrel is not allowed to walk יותר מרגלי בעליה. More than the feet of its owners. So it says, בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שאמרו לו, who's these guys that say to him, היינו רבי יוחנן בן נורי. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri attacked Rabbi Yehuda's decision that you can walk with such a barrel the entire world. And he told him, הסובר שחפצי הפקר קונים שביתה במקומה. And he says, what are you talking about? Even if it's hefker, at the moment Shabbos comes in, you're only allowed to move it 2,000 amma from where it is. I don't care if it has an owner, it doesn't have an owner. וזה שאמרה במשנתנו, לא תהלך זה יותר מרגלי בעליה, and this is when the Mishnah says, it shouldn't walk more than the legs of the owners, כלומר, which means, כשם שחבית שיש לה בעלים אינה מהלכת אלא כרגלי בעליה, it says just like a barrel that has an owner can only walk the distance that the owner is allowed to walk, היינו 2,000 אמה ממקום שבירת הבעלים, which is 2,000 אמה from the place that the owner is, not the barrel is, the place where the owner is, אף חבית זו של הפקר, even this barrel of הפקר, אינה מהלכת אלא 2,000 ממקום שביתתה. She's only allowed to walk 2,000 אמה from the place she is. וההלכה כרבי יהודה. And the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, that you're allowed to take the barrel the entire world. Yeah. No owner. It didn't. Shabbat didn't catch in there.
But you know, the logic is more like the Chachamim. Because, you know, the Chavim, even if it's a hefker, it's got a Tchum Shabbat of Alpine. We say you can move it, but only Alpine Amma, because of Shabbos.
Go ahead. Explain.
Because it's hefker.
Uh-huh.
It's still because it's hefker. It's not belong to nobody, but it's still rechush של Shabbat, as it's got Alpine Amma. It makes sense to me. אבל רבי יהודה...
I'll tell you where's the words that you get stuck in.
Where?
It says, לא תהלך זו, the Mishnah itself, when it comes to the barrel, it says, this one shouldn't walk more than the legs of the owner. So, what?
Owner can go 2,000 miles.
Oh, so what Rabbi Yehuda says, only if it has an owner, it's not allowed to walk more than that. That's how he understands this verse.
I see.
You see how he said?
Doesn't have an owner.
There's no limit. The Mishnah says it shouldn't walk more than the legs of the owner. So he emphasizes the fact, if it has an owner, so this guy says that's not what it... It doesn't have a limit. That's the way he says. The Rabbi Ram Bigelman says you have to look behind. It doesn't mean over here. Yeah. He says it doesn't really mean... It's the meaning behind it. It's not the... In other... Rabbi Yehuda is very exact on the wording. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is on the concept. He's looking at the concept, at the logic behind the wording, not at the wording. And this is the argument. Are you going to concentrate on the wording or on the concept? Very good.